Today we're going to do the top 20 Etsy questions in less than 20 minutes. My team and I dove into the top questions that are searched about Etsy, and I wanted to put them all in one place in one concise video for you to get the key information that you need to grow your shop. If you're new here, my name is Dylan Jarris. I have over 13 years in e-commerce, and that's over 8 years on Etsy. I also sell on Amazon and Shopify, but my background is corporate e-commerce, and now I have a company of about 28 people. We're teaching Etsy sellers how to scale their businesses. So let's dive into your questions, starting with number one, how do I start selling on Etsy? You simply open an account and you decide who you want to sell to. Most people start with a product, but we want to start with a customer because you can put up a product, but how do you know that someone would want that product? Start with the market you want to serve, the customer, and then look at what they are coming to Etsy for. Most people pick a product and then they hope someone wants it. And that typically doesn't work out. Number two, what should I sell on Etsy? So instead, we want to ask, who should I sell to on Etsy? Because not all customers are created equal. We want to sell to people who have higher discretionary income. Maybe they have expensive hobbies and activities. They continue to spend even when the economy is up and down. And we look at how can we serve these people in as many areas of their life as possible. So we're not picking a niche, we're picking a customer and we're serving them in many different areas of their life. If you start with your customer, that will lead you to the product. How do I take good product photos for Etsy? That is a great question. Number one thing is to stop doing the Amazon white background. We got to stop doing that. What we want to do is get a different color of a background. For this illustration, I would like you to look at Anthropologie. Look at how Anthropologie pictures their drinkware, right? You'll see like a solid color, a lot of shadowing happening. That is a very premium way to show product. What are the best SEO practices for Etsy? Function over how pretty it looks. The function of the SEO, which is the words and the structure of those words, versus how it looks to the eye. A title, that is not your SEO. That is part of where you put SEO. That is not your SEO. I would say titles are probably about 10% of your SEO. How do you price your products on Etsy? Not too high. Know where you stand. By this, I mean you can't come in as a brand new shop trying to compete with a market leader, charging 25% more than them. The whole goal when you get on Etsy should be to get your order number under your shop name up to 1,000 as quickly as possible. Then we can talk about pricing and pulling levers to increase your margin. You don't want to do that day one. You've just got to rip off the Band-Aid, give it away, get some sales. Because until you have sales, do you really have a business? How do you handle shipping on Etsy? Well, one of my recommendations is always have USPS ground shipping selected. And you have to look under the advanced settings. You have to click view more options when you are setting up your shipping profiles, but it will default to USPS priority. This is if you're in the US, and you will save a ton of money. Like I save tens of thousands of dollars a year just by having that one button selected. That way, anytime someone wants to upgrade to USPS priority, they are paying the full shipping amount, not just the price difference between the two. And when you think about it, I would say about 10% of my customers will upgrade to priority, which really helps my overall blended margin. How do I create my shop banner and logo for Etsy? My number one recommendation is get into Canva and give yourself 20 minutes max. If you give yourself 2 hours, you will take up that 2 hours to create a logo that honestly probably doesn't look much better than a 20-minute logo. Just get it up. And remember, people should know what you sell and what you want to be known for by that banner. That is your biggest visual real estate in your shop to put photos. You want it to be completely obvious what you're selling by what's in your banner. How do I promote my Etsy shop? All right, you could do Etsy ads, but I have a video about my take on Etsy ads and what you should do instead. I recommend baking in strong organic traffic to the foundation of your shop. So I'm talking about Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, blogging, email marketing. There's so many ways to get free traffic that you don't have to pay for. And if you get that baked in where you have a consistent flow of free organic traffic, then you can start to play with your ad spend. Do not start with ads first because then you will be handcuffed to that ad spend and you'll be scared to turn it off. I see it all the time. I help thousands of Etsy sellers who are spending way too much money in ads taper that down to essentially nothing, to where about 5% of my students touch ads. If you do want to promote your shop with ads, I do not recommend Etsy ads or Instagram boosting or Pinterest ads. I would start with Facebook ads. How do I get more reviews on Etsy? I recommend aiming for at least a 25% review rate in your Etsy shop. And the best way to do that is by focusing on a premium customer experience. I'm talking a a Four Seasons hotel experience, a Chick-fil-A experience, that is where you can win. We have the golden customer service scripts that I give you that really get you a high review rate. Our students love it and they tell me how well it works and the transformation of their review rate after implementing this. We're not begging for reviews or trading product for reviews. We're actually making it irresistible for them to leave a review. How do I manage customer service on Etsy? My best advice, stay glued to your phone. Have your notifications turned on and be the first to respond. Especially early on, you want that rapid fire response rate. That is going to really help you grow and help contribute to that great customer experience. And if you get to the point where you want to outsource that because you want to take a phone-free vacation, then that is something you can easily hire out. But always find a way to prioritize that response time. And over communication is key. I don't mean long, lengthy messages. I also mean frequency of communication and frequency of updates. How do I handle returns and refunds on Etsy? Don't. I recommend having no refunds, no returns, no exchanges. You own your policies. That is the benefit of Etsy over Amazon. So make sure to utilize that. How can I improve my Etsy shop's conversion rate? There is going to be friction in the purchasing process if you have a low conversion rate or your value proposition is not there. So make sure you have all the different 10 listing photos in there. There's 18 different types of listing photos that you can actually use that we teach our students, and they really help your conversion rate. Make sure you have the video, make sure your description is optimized for mobile and desktop. Your listing page, that is a sales pitch for your product. If you're not treating it as such, you're missing the opportunity. How do I analyze my Etsy shop stats? I really recommend focusing on traffic because that is going to be the root of quite a few issues. And then on the listing level, we want to focus on SEO. This is going to help you know exactly what SEO updates to make. In module 6 of our program, we teach you how to use data to make decisions. So how to look at your listing stats and know exactly what to do. How to look at your macro level stats and know which levers to pull to make a big swing in your results. How do I optimize my listings for search? Value proposition. This is the key. The value proposition of your listing is that combination of your listing photo and your price. All they're really looking at is that listing photo and that price, and that's how they're making their decision. Also has to be relevant. So always add value to your listing photos, make sure your pricing is compelling, and make sure that there is no deception happening. So by this, I mean you're not putting in a onesie into your sweatshirt listing to make it appear like it's $9.99. We don't want to do that. And if your SEO is not relevant, then none of that matters. So the SEO has to be relevant for this to even work. What are the best practices for Etsy product descriptions? Well, I will give you the number one thing that will kill your conversion rate with your descriptions, and it is using those long ChatGPT descriptions that are so flowery, so over the top, just something that no one's gonna read. And if you are trying to bury key important information around noise and fluff, no one's gonna find it. So if a description is not helping your conversion rate, it is hurting your conversion rate. How do I handle Etsy disputes and cases? Document everything in a written format. So not emails with the customer, not phone calls with the customer, Etsy messages. Keep everything on Etsy messages and have your policies clearly filled out. Because if you have your policies fully filled out and you're using Etsy shipping labels, then Etsy will protect you using the seller protection program. So if you ever have a case presented against you on Etsy, having all of that clearly filled out will support you. And this is because in Etsy's terms, they state that when a buyer shops with you, they are agreeing to your shop policies. And always, always, always keep that professional language. And that will show Etsy that you are the professional. This person might not have it all there. So how can I find trends and popular items to sell on Etsy? The key here is to not look on Etsy or Etsy search tools. People go to Etsy and they're like, I'm gonna look at what's selling on Etsy and I'm gonna sell that. It's popular on Etsy, so it's a good thing to sell on Etsy. No, if you're doing that, you're chasing other shops, chasing other listings. How do you expect to compete with a market leader listings when you have no track record? So the best way to become a market leader when you have no track record, no social proof, is to bring trends to Etsy. So we're actually looking outside of Etsy to find those trends. We have a whole process that we teach in Module 2. We actually don't teach this part on YouTube, but it is how to find trends. We have quite a few trend videos that you should definitely check out, but these are all trends that we found outside of Etsy. So that could be a great first step for you. How can I update or edit my Etsy listings? Okay, so there are actually some really great ways to bulk update your listings. This is one of my favorites. We've just switched to quick quick edit and you can adjust any listing that does not have variations. So one of my favorite things to use this one for is updating quantities when I don't have the quantity available by variation. If you have a quantity available by variation, then you do have to go in and update your quantities differently. But this is a great way to bulk update quantities, bulk update weights, if weight has changed or the shipping box has changed, things like that. Another thing that I love doing if you exit your quick edit is bulk updating pricing. So you can select all of a certain category and then you can click edit prices. So a lot of people see, okay, I'll increase it by this amount. But when you have variations that impact price, let's say a $2 item like we have here and a $115 item, you don't want to increase the price by 50 cents across the board. You want to increase it by percentage, right? So percentage increases are a fantastic thing to do with bulk updates. I like to do percentage increases. You can go, 20%, 30%. You can round it to the nearest whole number. This is a very useful tool. And if that made a negative impact, maybe you want to decrease it. So percentage decrease, 20%, bulk updating this. I do this all the time. It works really well. Now, another way to make bulk updates is to edit the personalization. So the personalization text box, you can update that. Let's say you are finding people keep forgetting something specific. Okay, well, you can add the personalization text box or do a mass update to it, make it optional or required, and bulk update that here. You can also turn off the personalization text box in a bulk method right there. Now, another thing you can do here is changing shipping profiles, bulk editing those. That tends to work really nicely. Changing sections. Remember, using all of your sections is really important once you get to a certain level. And you can manage your sections, delete them, remove them, move them around, change the order. Super, super helpful. Another thing that I like to do is editing to tags or descriptions in a bulk method. So you can remove a certain tag and then you can also update your description. You can add things to the front of it, to the end of it. You can find and replace certain keywords. You can delete certain words. Like let's say you have a word like Disney or something that has a trademark or copyright around it. Then you can delete certain words or you can entirely reset your descriptions. And when you're deleting, you can delete all instances of that word if it is in multiple places. Find and replace is great as well. Let's say you want to find Mother's Day and then put birthday, something like that. A lot of people also ask, how do I withdraw funds from my Etsy account? Go to your finances and your payment settings, and you can change the deposit schedule. So you could do once per week, every 2 weeks, once per month. I believe Etsy has this set not to every day. So you'll just want to increase this to every day. You will also see this confirmation when you click on payment account, the deposit schedule, you click daily, and you can change it there as well. But if you are not getting daily deposits from your shop, you absolutely should set it up to be that way. And lastly, it looks like a lot of you search, how do I handle taxes for my Etsy shop? Well, if you are in the US, they will issue you a 1099K, which makes it really easy because they are collecting and remitting all of the different sales tax for you. You don't have to worry about collecting sales tax and reporting all the sales tax. If you do sell on other sites like Shopify or Amazon, then you do want to be submitting your quarterly sales and use tax. If you're not doing that and you're confused about that, definitely talk to your CPA because you should be doing that. You'll report all of your revenue and then you're taking deductions out. And make sure when you're doing your taxes that you are doing all of the right deductions, not too much, not too little, and that you have adequate reporting and proof of everything that you're stating. Having someone strategic in your corner once your shop is over 6 figures, that is very important. And you're going to want to consider S Corp tax status as well. You will start to save quite a bit of money. If you have questions for a CPA, I have a great one to refer you to. Just reach out to team@dylanjaris.com and we can get you the link to actually have a free consultation with him. I hope this rapid fire Q&A was helpful. If you have additional questions that you would like answered, just put them in the comments and I will get to them on the next Q&A. All right, thanks guys. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video and you'd like another one like this. We can go through more of the most popular searched questions about Etsy.
Until now, I didn't really have many sales in my Etsy shop. Almost 2 months ago, I bought the course. I can see a steady growth, increase in my views, especially in my conversion rate, which was very low before.